To take a look at what's grabbing international headlines, and we can say good morning to Flo Villeneuve. You're starting out stateside, where Attorney General Jeff Sessions is facing, a storm of criticism over newly disclosed contacts with Russia's ambassador to the United States.
Let's start with a cartoon in the Washington Post by Tom Tolles here. You can see Sessions with his pants on fire. Of course, the saying goes, liar, liar, pants on fire. Now, what you can see there is that big cloud of smoke. It's Trump-Russia connection. Sessions, meanwhile, saying, sure, there's some smoke, but is there fire? No, which echoes what Sessions said in his confirmation hearing when he was asked whether he had met with Russian officials about the Trump campaign. He said no.
Well, it turns out he did meet twice with Russia's ambassador, Sergei Kislyak.
And who is this Sergei Kislyak? That's what everyone wants to know today. You can see here this article in the Daily Beast. Questions are swirling around him. Is he a spy master? Well, some reports say he's a top Russian intel recruiter. Others say he's just a top diplomat. Whoever he is, he has Vladimir Putin's ear, and he's part of a kind of net of relations, a network of relations between Trump's advisors, and you can see them on the left-hand column there, and Russian officials. You can see this web of ties here between Trump's team and Vladimir Putin's team, various connections. It's all very mysterious.
Now, Democrats and some Republicans are calling for an independent investigation to find out more about these connections, and specifically the alleged Russian involvement in the elections last year.
And that is exactly what Sessions recused himself from yesterday. He recused himself from any investigation. The editorial of the New York Times says, look, he didn't have a choice. He had to recuse himself, but recusal is only a first step. The second must be the appointment of this special counsel, an independent, nonpartisan actor who can both investigate and prosecute any criminal acts in relation to Russian interference.
Now, many top Democrats have demanded Sessions step down once and for all, while Republicans and the president have called it a witch hunt.
And you just got that sneak peek at an article in The Independent by Mary Dejevsky, who agrees with that analysis. Now, Mary Dejevsky is a commentator for The Independent. She's the former Moscow correspondent in favor of a thaw in relations between Washington and Moscow. She says this controversy is nothing more than a witch hunt, lashes out against essentially what she says is a Democrat's Cold War anti-Russian attitude that's completely obsolete today. Democrats find it easier to blame Russia than accept that they lost a fair fight in the election.
Interesting stuff. Now, speaking about Russia, Sweden has decided to reinstate the military draft for men and women.
It might sound archaic, says the local, and you can see why Sweden is bringing it back in this very detailed article here. It's very interesting. Now, what's interesting is it actually hasn't been away that long. It was only formally suspended in 2010. Why is Sweden bringing it back? Well, there's several reasons. Reason number one, not enough people are joining the military. Reason number two is the most interesting and perhaps most important one, and that is that the situation in the Baltic region has changed. And you can read more about it here in the local. Essentially, Sweden is concerned over a more assertive Russia in the Baltic and in Ukraine. The third reason is that there's a lot of public support for this move. In fact, according to a poll carried out last year, 72% of Swedes want the conscription to come back. In fact, SMT, which is a Swedish paper, interviewed some of these young people who might be concerned by this new conscription, and they were actually quite excited by the idea. One of them said it's good to join a team and work together. Some say it sounds fun, though physically and mentally demanding, although one did say it sounds a little bit like the Hunger Games.
Interesting stuff. Moving on to Egypt next, where the country's top appeals court has acquitted former President Hosni Mubarak on charges he played a role in the killing of protesters back during the Arab Spring.
Mixed reactions in the Arab language press. Let's start with this article here in Al Arabi Al Jadid. They're saying, well, essentially people have been saying that this was the trial of the century. That's the way it's been described in Arab language papers. And this headline here says it's the farce of the century. This paper says that Mubarak's acquittal erases what was left of the symbol of the revolution. But if we take a look at an article in Sharq al-Awsat, they're a little bit more forgiving. And this article says, you know what? Egyptians have a lot more important problems than whether or not Mubarak was guilty or not. And in fact, this article hopes that one day Mubarak will write an autobiography to shed light on the country's history.
And finally, papers abroad are paying attention to the campaign here in France, the presidential campaign.
Let's take a look, first of all, at The Economist. Check out this pretty incredible headline. We are on the verge of the next French Revolution. Nothing less than that. The Economist says that the upcoming election will decide the very future of Europe. So perhaps that's why everyone is paying attention to this election. Now, lots of cartoons in the press today. I pulled out a selection. First of all, there's a cartoon. This is Marine Le Pen here. This is a Lebanese cartoonist, Blaybel. Now, her EU parliamentary immunity was lifted for tweeting some gruesome photos. So you can see her here getting a swift kick in the rear end from a European star here. It looks like quite a painful kick for the far-right leader. And conservative François Fillon, he's also in the spotlight. Now, he's going to be placed under formal investigation over this crippling alleged fake jobs scandal. He gave this press conference on Wednesday where he vowed to stay in the race. Now, he previously mentioned that it was outrageous for politicians to be placed under formal investigation. He said, can you imagine General Charles de Gaulle being placed under formal investigation? Well, this cartoon in the Tribune de Genève suggests that he regrets that. Anybody who mentions General de Gaulle, I'm going to punch them in the face.
What is he doing to his arm?
He's lifting up his sleeve to get into the fight.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Florence Villeminot with the International Press Review. We're going to take a quick break. More news coming up. Stay with us.